Hi guys, Robbie here from CrossFit South Bend. Today we're going to talk about how to save money while eating healthy. One of the biggest concerns that people often have when they start to eat healthy or they think about trying to eat healthy is that affording this really healthy food is going to break the bank. It's going to exceed their budget and they're not going to be able to use their money for all the other things that they're used to using it for when they start to eat healthy. So today we're going to give you guys a few tips to help you figure out how to eat healthy while still being able to save some money. Now before we get into those tips, we have to talk a little bit about the following two questions. First question is healthy food truly expensive? And I would actually argue that it's not. And I know that might seem surprising, but I would argue that it really isn't, and it really kind of depends on what type of healthy food you're talking about. If you're talking about buying and cooking your own food from kind of base materials like vegetables and meats and herbs and spices and healthy fats and kind of preparing it at home, buying and cooking your own food can actually be one of the most cost-effective things you can do. Now, if you're talking about pre-made meals or something like that, that include healthy ingredients that are bought online or at a store or something like that, yeah, that can start to be a little bit expensive. But in terms of buying and cooking quality ingredients at home, that can actually be one of the most cost-effective things you can do and actually can save you quite a bit of money. So healthy food just seems expensive, but in reality, it's actually cheaper in the long run. It's cheaper in the long run, not just in terms of buying and cooking it on your own, but actually from a health perspective. From a health perspective, long term, you are going to be saving money by not having to deal with all sorts of health insurance issues and health consequences that you would be avoiding as a result of eating healthy. So it might seem expensive on the face of it, but in reality, it's actually cheaper in the long run. And again, it really just kind of depends on what type of healthy food you're talking about. The second question we have to answer is fast food truly cheap? Again, I would argue here that it seems cheap, but it's not really cheap. Fast food is cheap like a payday loan is cheap. It's quick cash and it seems cheap at the time, but the interest rates you'll be paying on that later on are going to be really, really, really high, and it's going to be really, really hard to pay back, and it's going to cost you a lot more in the long run. So even though the dollar menu from McDonald's or something like that is going to seem like it's cheap in the short run, in the long run you'll pay more long term in terms of not only the health consequences, but as we'll talk about later, there are societal consequences. There's the health insurance burden of people with diabetes and blood sugar issues and heart conditions. There's the environmental cost of producing not great food. So the headline here is that people have this misconception that buying healthy food is completely unattainable just because it's expensive, and fast food is just super cheap. And the truth is, it really just seems that way. In reality, buying and cooking your own food at home can be one of the most cost-effective things you can do. And fast food is cheap the same way a payday loan is cheap, or buying everything with a credit card is cheap. It seems cheap at the moment, but it's not really cheap. So with that background in mind, let's give you guys a sense about how to save some money while you guys are shopping for healthy food. So, when we talk about food here and healthy food here at CrossFit South Bend, we're talking about real whole food, quality protein, veggies, healthy fats, fruits, nuts and seeds, herbs, and spices. So we're going to talk to you guys about how to save money on those things, because those are what are going to give you basically the best health benefits, and they're going to help you achieve your goals quicker than other types of food. So the first thing that should be kind of the building block of any of your meals is some piece of quality protein. This can be beef, chicken, eggs, duck, turkey. It can be pork, wild-caught fish, wild-caught seafood, anything like that. So what can you do to save money on quality protein? First and foremost, you can buy cheaper cuts. People have this misconception that the only way to purchase chicken is to get boneless, skinless chicken breast. Or to get pork, the only way to get it is to get pork chops, or to get beef, the only way to get it is as a steak. There are chuck roasts, there are whole chickens, there are pork roasts. There are lots of things that you can buy that are a lot cheaper if you are not buying the most expensive cuts. Now you can still buy those kind of more tender cuts once in a while. But in general, if you want to save money, buying those cheaper cuts, slow cooking them, things like that is going to save you quite a bit of money. If a typical steak is somewhere on the order of $10 to $14 a pound, a roast is going to be something like $4 to $6 a pound, saving you a lot of money. Buy in bulk, and you can do this a lot of ways. You can get a chest freezer at home if you're really bound and determined to save money. And if a store like a grocery store has a sale on grass-fed beef, for example, you can stock up on that and store it in your freezer. You can go in on a cow or a pig share with other friends and family or members of a gym or something like that, and save a lot of money by buying a quarter cow or a half hog or something like that. You can also, buying whole chickens and breaking it down yourself. That's going to save you a ton of money versus buying boneless, skinless chicken breast, for example, which is going to cost a lot more per pound than a whole chicken that you break down yourself. A third one, this might be a little bit tough for most people. You can try the first two first and see how it goes, but if you're really bound and determined, one of the best things you can do in terms of saving money, and not just saving money, but actually for your health, is try organ meats. Pretty much all the meats that we eat today are muscle meats, pork chops, steaks, boneless, skinless chicken breast. These are all muscle meats, and that's contrasted with organ meats, things like liver or kidney or heart or something like that. Now, our great-grandparents and grandparents used to eat these all the time and not bat an eyelash, but today we kind of were a little, unsure, are these going to taste good or not? A lot of them actually do if you give them a try, and they're actually fantastically healthy for you. For example, chicken liver and beef liver are probably some of the most nutrient-dense foods that you could possibly consume. They blow kale, broccoli, cauliflower, blueberries, all those other superfoods out of the water in terms of nutrient density. So, and they're really, really cheap. You can get a pound of chicken livers for about $3. So that's something to try. If you really want to save money, try organ meats instead of muscle meats. Okay, so let's talk about what we can do to save money on quality produce. We've got our quality protein, now let's talk about our quality produce. So first and most important thing you can do is buy local and seasonal. The more your food has to travel and the further it is out of season, the more it's going to cost you. For example, I love strawberries, and when it gets to be, November, December, and you look to buy organic strawberries, they're like $9 a pound. I mean, it's something insane, right? But if you buy them in season, it's $3 or $4 a pound or something much cheaper. Not only is it cheaper local and seasonal, but it's actually healthier for you. The less distance the food has to travel, and the more it's in season, the more nutrient dense it's going to be, and the more it's going to be able to, keep you healthy. So it's got kind of a double benefit there. If you buy seasonal stuff from a farmer's market, it's going to be way, 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 way cheaper than buying stuff out of season. Buy more veggies than fruits. Fruits are awesome. They're great. They are a really good complement to a lot of the things that we eat. But veggies, by and large, are going to be quite a bit cheaper than fruits on the whole. Fruits tend to cost a little bit more than vegetables. And in general, just like this one above, you're going to get a health benefit there as well. Vegetables on the whole are way more healthy than fruits. Again, fruits are healthy. They can be part of your nutrition plan, but vegetables are way more healthy. And if you want to save money, go for the vegetables. Buy whole produce. In general, buying the whole package, whether it's a whole chicken, a whole pineapple, is always going to save you more money because you're not paying for someone else to break it down. So, if you go into a store and you try to buy cut up pineapple, that's going to cost you way more than if you just buy a pineapple on your own and just, take the 5 minutes it takes to learn how to cut it up properly. So buying whole produce is going to save you a lot more money than walking into a store and then buying up the pre-cut stuff. Okay, so that's quality protein, that's quality produce. What about healthy fats? Things like olive oil, avocado, macadamia nut oil, coconut oil, ghee, which is clarified butter, beef tallow, things like that. In general, those things, it really pays to just buy the good stuff. Save your money here and then use your money here to really buy the good stuff. The truth is the healthy fats don't cost that much to begin with. They'll last you a long time, and it really just does pay dividends to buy the good stuff to begin with. Okay, so those are some tips on how to save on your quality protein, your quality produce, and your healthy fats. Let's talk about a question that I get a lot, which is, look, do I need to buy grass-fed beef? Do I need to buy wild-caught fish? And do I need to buy organic produce? The general answer, especially when you're starting to eat healthy, is no. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Of course, if you can afford these things and you're on a mission to be healthier, go for it. But a lot of times people see it and they say, okay, well, if I can't have grass-fed beef and I can't have organic produce, then I'm just going to go have pizza or McDonald's or whatever I was previously eating. When you're starting out, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Just try to eat healthy, even if you're not going to get grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, so on and so forth. Another thing to say is another excellent resource for saving money on produce in terms of talking about organic produce is the environmental working groups Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. That's a list of the, I believe it's top 12 dirtiest fruits and vegetables in terms of pesticide use, and the top 15 clean vegetables and fruits in terms of produce. So for example, apples are consistently the dirtiest of, the pieces of produce in terms of pesticide use, and berries as well. So you really want to try to save your money and buy organic berries, organic apples, organic leafy greens, things like that. But things like avocados, pineapples, bananas, not much in the way of pesticide use, so you can save your money there and you don't need to buy organic there. So when starting out, you generally don't need to buy these things grass-fed, organic, wild-caught. However, eventually, yes, these things do make a difference. Beef is not beef, is not beef, is not beef. Not all beef is created equal. Not all produce is created equal. And to the extent that you can eat protein that is fed what it's supposed to be fed, you will be healthier. To the extent that you can eat produce without pesticides on it, you will be healthier. So when you're starting out, try the best you can, try to just eat healthy in general. And then eventually when you kind of get the swing of things, if you can, try to move on to grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, and organic produce. Okay, so hopefully you have a bit of a sense of how to save some money here. Let's just kind of finish up with some final thoughts here. At the end of the day, you get what you pay for. Over the past 40 years, the percentage of income that Americans have paid for groceries has steadily gone down from something like 25% of income down to something like 12 to 15%. Our health has taken a corresponding decline that matches the amount we pay for food. This isn't a coincidence. There are a lot of other factors that go into the equation about why our health is declining, but this is not a coincidence. Food producers over the past 30 to 40 years have tried to convince us that the two most important things we should care about with regard to food are how cheap it is and how convenient it is. And when you think about that for a second, that's kind of a scary thought. We should care about food quality, where it comes from, how well it nourishes us. And yeah, we want to save some money too, but we don't want to, care so much about price and convenience that we throw health out the window. So you get what you pay for, and that's an important thing to remember. At the end of the day, do the best you can. Do the best you can. Even if you can't afford wild-caught fish or other things like that, do the best you can. When you're starting out, just eat as healthy as you can and worry about that, and then maybe eventually you can get to these other things. The other thing to say is that, when you think about the cost of a food, you can't just think of that price right there on the sticker. There are a lot of other things that go into the equation. So when you see the dollar menu at a fast food establishment, for example, that's not factoring in the long-term health consequences for you, for society. It's not factoring in the long-term environmental costs that are taking place as a result of this type of food being produced. And it's not taking into account animal welfare. These are important things to consider. At the very least, they're not things that we should just disregard and say, that's not important. They're things that we really should consider. And when you see something like, $1 for a hamburger somewhere versus, $5 to $6 for a piece of grass-fed beef, it's important to take those things into consideration, not just your own long-term health, but the health of society, environment, animal welfare, so on and so forth. So if you use the tips we talked about in this video to help you save some money at the grocery store, I think you'll be doing really well. I think this will help you both eat healthy and not break the bank at the same time. I hope you found this video useful. This is Robbie from CrossFit South Bend signing off. We'll see you guys next time.